got David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade. Seems like he's not fought in forever. Give us your thoughts, mate.
Who? Andrade or
Yeah.
Andrade? Last time we saw him was on a tank card, opening a card against Damon Nicholson.
Yeah.
A lot of people felt like he was actually knocked down, which I agree. It was like a body shot, and I mean, whether he lost his balance on his own, I mean, shot landed. Andrade or Andrade, depending on how you want to say it. Boo Boo, great fighter, man. He has accolades. He's undefeated. Not really been given the opportunity to go ahead and prove that he is one of the best fighters in the world. So this is his first time he's going to be headlining a pay-per-view, and he has to face the Mexican monster, David Benavidez. Benavidez put his stamp on his own career when he went ahead and really beat down Caleb Plant. A common opponent with Canelo Alvarez. Both of these gentlemen have been chasing the Canelo fight. Andre, people believe it's been 3 weight classes, 154, 160, and 168. When Andre was a champion at 160 pounds, Canelo needed his belt to undispute. I think it was around COVID time. No, it was actually right before COVID time. Canelo ends up getting a WBC franchise belt, which takes away 1, which none of us really knew what the heck was going on with that. Then he gets into a purse bid with Sergey Derenchenko. Derenchenko keeps, in discussions with him, keeps wanting more money, gets in a purse bid, gets stripped, and he ends up moving up and fighting Sergey Kovalev and never looks back at 160. So now Andre, 3rd weight class, quote unquote, chasing Canelo, has to go through the Mexican monster, who's been obviously the next best 168 pounder for some time. And we want the winner to face Canelo Alvarez. I'm clamoring for it. I've been saying, David Benavidez, once he defeated Plant, that was it. He headlined, he did multi-million dollars at the gate, he produces money, is deservingly the next competitor for Canelo. Just seems not being able to get it. So this winner, I expect to beat David Benavidez. Just too big, too strong, too much of a motor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'll lean decision, though I wouldn't be surprised if Benavidez is just overwhelming and causes a stoppage. But I lean more towards decision. I think Andrade, former Olympian, one of the best U.S. amateurs we've gotten in the last 20 years, probably. I think he's awkward enough and just tough enough to last.
Yeah, man. He's, for a long time, people have said he's like been the most avoided fighter possibly in all of boxing.
Boogeyman. Both these men think they're boogeyman.
Your favorite saying, isn't it? I'd go with that. He's a talented fighter. He's awkward, isn't he? And it's one of them, the case of who needs him, because you're never going to look good against him if you can beat him. He's obviously undefeated, so he's going to be awkward. But yeah, at least he's now in a huge fight, which is fun and exciting. But yeah, David Benavidez has just looked pretty sensational, hasn't he? How long ago was it? He had that suspension for a little while.
Oh, Benavidez? I think it was maybe a year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And then he's just come on strong, hasn't he, really? Great win last time. Knocked out David Lemieux as well. Beat David Plant. Caleb Plant, sorry, David. And this will be a good win against Andrade. And like you say, you've been calling for him against Canelo for a long time. I think that's the fight that should be made. It's one of the best fights to be made in boxing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And I think their styles would be awesome as well. Who would you favour in that? Benavidez versus Alvarez.
It's such great of a matchup. We got to keep the people on the edge of their seat and make sure they tune in once that fight is made.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good shout. Good shout. Okay, let's have a look what else is on that event. Undercard-wise, Subriel Matias against Ergashev. I can't say this name.
Ergashev.
Ergashev. Okay. This was what was mentioned earlier on in the comments. Is a good fight. What do you see in this one?
So I haven't watched Ergashev fight one time. I just know he's a Salida fighter, and he may be a Kronk Gym fighter. I know he fights out of Detroit. So that usually lines up. There's not many guys out of Detroit that don't fight out of Kronk. Only one fighter that I can think of, and many people don't even know him. He just fought on Showbox not too long ago. So yeah, they say he's good. So his first real fight to prove it is gonna be against an actual, monster in the ring. Subriel Matias. Matias just wears guys out. He just has such a unique style. He'll let you get off, and then he's like, okay, my turn. And he really beats dudes down, bloodies them up. So it's gonna be interesting to see if this guy Ergashev if he is as good as people that know him. If he is that good as they say, then it should be a great fight. It's great. It's not the co-main event, which is really interesting, but it's one of 3 title fights because the Benavidez fight is for the interim. So yeah, I'm excited to see what Ergashev has. I'm not a huge fan of Matias, but I know what he's bringing, and you gotta be on your P's and Q's because this guy's gonna come with volume and hit you hard.
Yeah, well, he's got a perfect record of 19 wins, 19 knockouts. Obviously, he's got the 1 loss, but that's that is
avenged it, knocked the dude out.
Right. Okay. Well, that's some going then. So that's interesting. And obviously, we know that these Uzbekistan fighters are always just quality, aren't they? Usually got a good pedigree.
Yeah. The new Cubans.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that definitely looks like a good one. And again, he's got a great record by the looks of it. 20 KO wins from 23 wins.
His best friend's probably like Michael Fox, though. So Michael Fox, good fighter, but hasn't really made it to the top level. So
yeah, so it's definitely a step up. And interesting. Okay, Hector Garcia against Lamont Roach. Anything to say about that one?
Yeah, Lamont Roach, his 1 loss I can remember was against Jermall Herring. Since then, hasn't really had too much of an opportunity to fight someone. I think like Rene Alvarado might be his biggest wins value of his career, and I think that was Rene coming up in weight. Has been sitting out since July of 2022, so almost a year and a half.
Yeah,
this fight has been made, however, it's just constant, maybe 2, 3, 4 delays. Lamont kept saying like it's Garcia. They claim injury, then they push it back. Last time we seen Garcia, he literally got his lights punched out. I remember it's the infamous I can't see. So I think he's a good fighter. He has good wins. Roger Gutierrez. Everyone remembers the Chris Colbert fight. That's his biggest win. Knocked him down. Looked like he just made Colbert check out. So I favor Hector Luis just because he's been with a better competition. I just think he's a little more tighter technically. And just like I said, the better wins, I've seen more from him. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say Hector Garcia by decision.
All right, nice. That is a 3 and a box rec stars. Don't really mean a lot, but it gives you a good indicator. 3 5-star fights on that, and then a 4-star fight as well, which is awesome. Very good card. So Jermall Charlo this time. I didn't even realize he was scheduled to fight against Jose Benavidez Jr., who was up until a few fights ago. He was right up there, wasn't he? One of the bigger names in America, at least. Good fight, not too bad. What do you reckon? We've got an activity issue, haven't we, here with the Charlo?
Man, honestly, both of them, but you got to give it to Benavidez. He got a fight in a few months ago. It was a fight. It was a smaller card in Maryland, but got a stoppage against the guy who was like 36-16, something like that. But you got the Danny Garcia fight that was over a year and a half.
Yeah,
right. His claim to fame was giving Crawford his toughest fight, as they say. But everyone knows he got shot some years ago.
Okay, yep.
He hasn't really been the same. He was one of the. They say he might have been one of the best U.S. amateurs to come out ever. He signed really young, pro. I think he turned pro 16, 17, something like that. He was like one of the few guys in America to ever get a professional license before 18 years old because he was so accomplished as an amateur. So, he believes that this coming up in weight is really going to help him be stronger. He says that in that Danny fight, even though it was at 154 and he campaigned mostly at 140, 147, he just was still a little bit weakened. So that's why he got that stoppage his last fight. And he really believes he's fighting Charlo at the right time. Why? Because Charlo's been out
for ages, yeah.
Over 800 days since the last time we've seen him.
2021.
He actually has had a pre-camp with Roy Jones Jr. So interesting enough. Jermall Charlo, there was a time 2019 around that time where I was in belief, he was deserving of the Canelo shot. A lot of people felt he had one of the best jabs in all of boxing. So this is an opportunity. He gets a decent name, like you said, over here in the U.S. market. Everyone knows the Benavidez brothers, obviously, because of David. But Jose did have his shine, seemed to have been, gotten a little mucky since. But this is his chance. Big opportunity on a big card to show that he's back. And it's at a catch weight 163. I'm glad it's not for the belt. But, I mean, Charlo really, honestly, shouldn't even have the belt because he hasn't, defended it in such a long time. So, it is what it is, kind of a thing. How did they predict this fight? I have no idea. Shout out to Heavy Chevy. He's a Phoenix guy, so he's representing, shouting out the Benavidez brothers who grew up in Phoenix. Man, no idea how the fight's going to go. Hopefully it's a good scrap.
All right, that's cool. Sitting on the fence, I'll accept for the last fight to cover for the stream.